Good morning, members. Council's office is seeking an emergency summary order of suspension for the establishment known as Schramrocks Irish Pub. The establishment is engaging in conduct that is adversely affecting the health, safety, and welfare of individuals in the area of the licensed premises. On February 10th, 2019, at approximately 1:05 a.m., the Henrietta Fire District and the Monroe County Sheriff's Department responded to a 911 call. The establishment had exceeded maximum occupancy. Upon arrival, firefighters observed the parking lot to be full of cars, with many cars being double parked and parked in travel lanes. Upon entering the establishment, officers observed an extremely large, hostile crowd and a strong odor of marijuana. Firefighters spoke to the event promoter, who indicated that there were 325 patrons inside, but neither the security at the door or the manager were aware of how many patrons were inside or even what the maximum occupancy was. There was no maximum occupancy posting in the building, which the town confirmed is a violation of the town's fire code. Officers observed security forcefully removing 2 patrons and discharging pepper spray towards those 2 patrons and the exterior door. The pepper spray mist filled the room, causing patrons to run out of the establishment, coughing, crying, and vomiting, and 2 firefighters were also exposed. As patrons began pouring out of the establishment, a large fight broke out directly outside the main doors, and instantly several more fights broke out around the perimeter. Additional fights broke out as groups spilled into the parking lot, causing damage to vehicles. There were not enough officers on scene to break up all of the fights. Once the scene was secure, officers spoke to the manager, who indicated that the event promoter, Chris Williams, hosted an America's Most Wanted party. The manager did not know how to work the camera system or if it even recorded. Officers went to Strong Memorial Hospital and identified 3 individuals who were stabbed during the fights at the establishment. One indicated that he was stabbed outside the bar, but that it might have also happened inside. The second was in too much pain to speak with officers and was taken to the operating room. The third indicated that he was stabbed near the fire truck. At the hospital, officers noticed that the back windshield was smashed out of a vehicle used to take a victim to the hospital. Officers who remained at the establishment discovered a knife in the center of the parking lot, as well as a trail of blood in the breezeway on the side of the establishment. Officers have been called to this establishment between 20 and 30 times since 2017 for fights, large brawls, and highly intoxicated or unruly patrons. Notably, nearly every report mentioned security guards at the establishment, but on its method of operation, the licensee indicated that it would not hire security or an event promoter. The town of Henrietta notified the authority that the licensee violated its special use permit by having a third-party promoted event. In its method of operation, the licensee also indicated that it would have a camera system available to law enforcement, yet many of the police reports reflect that the footage is taped over after 24 hours, often before officers are able to review it. The licensing board relies on the statements made in a liquor license application when determining whether approval of the license is in the public's interest, and it is imperative that applicants do not depart from the assertions made in their application once it's approved. The licensee was actually interviewed by a BCI investigator on February 11th, 2019, and submitted a signed statement indicating that the night of February 9th, Chris and Row Daddy Entertainment sponsored an event for the celebration of Black History Month. He was not present for this event, but the manager, Amber, was. A contract was not signed for this event, and money was not exchanged between the licensee and Chris, but Chris kept the cover charge proceeds, and the licensee kept the proceeds from the sale of food and alcohol. The licensee supplied bartenders, barback, a cook, but Chris brought 12 security guards. The licensee admitted that he did not check any of the security guards for licenses for this event. He had an arrangement with Chris that security would enforce a dress code, conduct pat-downs, and keep minors out of the establishment. The licensee also told Chris to start limiting patrons in once there are 325 patrons inside, as capacity is about 350.
Can I ask you something about that? Do we know what their capacity officially is? Is it about 350?
The maximum capacity of this establishment is 350.
Okay.
The licensee also indicated that Chris has sponsored dozens of events at the establishment without problems. However, February 10th, 2019 was not the first time an event hosted by Chris at the establishment where police were called to respond. The Monroe Sheriff's Department provided the authority with reports for incidents occurring on June 4th, 2017, August 19th, 2018, and December 2nd, 2018, while Chris and Rodaddy Entertainment were hosting events at the establishment. On June 4th, 2017, police were called there for customer trouble and observed 400 to 500 people at the establishment. On August 19th, 2018, during an event called Ignorantly Lit, a fight broke out and all patrons were instructed to leave. Officers were called to the establishment for a fight involving 400 people and upon arrival observed numerous fights occurring in the parking lot. Just over 2 months ago, on December 2nd, 2018, police were called to the establishment and observed 250 people and several active fights in front of the establishment and in the parking lot. That night, officers did speak to Chris, who indicated that he is a representative of Rodaddy Entertainment and was hosting a party. Again, this licensee had no approval from either the town or the authority to utilize event promoters, and the authority relied on the licensee's representation that it would not use event promoters when approving this license. This licensee does have an adverse history. On April 6th of 2017, the SLA Enforcement Bureau sent a letter of advice to the licensee after receiving complaints of alcoholic beverages being sold to minors. Additionally, a notice of pleading dated May 4th of 2017 charged the licensee with availing, indicating that the licensee permitted Andrew Schramm, a person not authorized by the authority, to avail itself of the license privilege on or before January 19th of 2017.
He's the son, right, of the two owners?
Correct.
I thought I recognized that name.
Yeah, we just had
Yeah.
last meeting. Yep.
Yes, yep. A hearing was held, and on November 26th of 2018, the ALJ recommended the charge be sustained, and on February 6th of 2019, the members sustained the charge and imposed a $10,000 civil penalty to be paid by March 22nd of 2019. Notably, Andrew Schramm was licensed under Cresswell Schramm LLC, doing business as Nathaniel's Pub until it was canceled on June 17th, 2014. Between 2009 and 2014, that licensee submitted conditional no contest pleas in response to 6 separate cases involving refilling unlimited drinks and selling alcohol to a total of 6 minors on 4 different occasions. It is respectfully submitted that the above incident demonstrates a complete lack of supervision as well as a total disregard for the ABC law. The licensee was clearly not supervising the premises, as his own statement reflects that on February 9th, 2019, he essentially turned control of his business over to Chris, who kept the proceeds from the cover charge and was responsible for keeping minors, drugs, and weapons out of the establishment, maintaining occupancy, and providing the security staff. The licensee did not check to see if these security guards were licensed. The licensee has also operated outside the confines of its liquor license, as the authority has not approved the licensee's use of an event promoter or security personnel. The licensee's conduct resulted in a significant disorderly incident on February 10th, 2019, which created a dangerous situation for all patrons, firefighters, and police, and led to the stabbing of 3 patrons. In consideration of the nature and number of police responses to the establishment, the licensee's failure to supervise or operate the establishment within the confines of its liquor license, the large violent brawl and resulting stabbings on February 10th, 2019, and the very serious charge of availing sustained on February 6, 2019, this establishment's conduct is negatively affecting the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the area of the licensed premises, and as such, immediate action in the form of an emergency order of summary suspension is required.
Any questions?
So they've been open about a year and a half, or 2.5, I'm sorry.
The license was issued on May 2nd, 2016.
This was I don't think I have any other questions.
You ready to vote then?
Yep.
All right, Commissioner Fan.
With clear evidence of sales to minor and a proven history of availing, this licensee got a slap on the wrist on February 6th We, at that time, gave them the benefit of the doubt of their son availing the license, but it appears that the licensee is continuing to allow promoters to run a business out of the licensed premise and is not actually present to properly supervise, not the person to properly impose the maximum occupancy numbers. Very disturbing that there are hundreds of people in multiple fights, multiple times, leading to an unruly, hostile environment that ends with stabbing of multiple patrons and a clear drain of police resource. And for that, I will vote to summarily suspend due to imminent threat to health, safety, or welfare of the public.
Commissioner Ford.
The way this place is operating is not just a threat to public safety and welfare. They are a menace. They're operating substantially overcrowding to the point and having violence break out that the police, I think I read here, the police can't even supply enough people, enough policemen to break up all the fights.
Correct.
So, you know, that's absurd, that's ridiculous. So I vote to summarily suspend.
I'm gonna vote to summarily suspend as well. It's obvious that this is not a restaurant, and I question whether they ever planned on being a restaurant. The owner, Mr. Schramm, gave a statement to police where he acknowledged that not only was he turning the premises over to an event promoter who brought his own security guards, but that event promoter was only being paid based on the number of people that he allowed into the bar, which obviously gave him an incentive to fill the bar with as many people as he could, which is obviously what he did. They allowed dancing, which their method of operation clearly states that they won't allow. They're not supposed to be using promoters. It was clear that this turned into an absolute mayhem, and luckily nobody got killed. I would think it's clear that this is a threat to the public safety and welfare, and I'm going to vote to summarily suspend. I would ask that you look into the promoter. I wouldn't be shocked if you find that Mr. Schramm's son is involved with that, and I would find out who the manager is, because there's supposed to be a manager and it's one individual, and I don't see that individual's name in any of the paperwork. Because that may be additional charges. I wouldn't expect that this place is going to reopen again, so.
Thank you.
I have nothing else on the calendar. Chairman, you have anything?
No, I'm done.
All right, then we are